What's going on, YouTube? Kyle here. Today I want to do a review on a couple products I recently purchased for a gun that I recently purchased. And that is the czp10c. And the two reviews I'm going to do are on the HB Industries flat face trigger and the Shield Arms +5 magazine extension. Now, before I get too in depth, it is unloaded, nothing in it, but I still don't want to point it out myself. But anyways, the HB Industries trigger, the HB Industries trigger is what I really want to talk about first. And I want to do that because if you have the czp10c, you already know how great the trigger is from the factory. It is an awesome, awesome trigger. Now, the only thing I did not like about the factory trigger was the amount of take-up or pre-travel in the trigger as you're prepping it. The HB Industries took a large portion of that out, but still leaving some that I feel safe with it in the gun, and it is still drop safe. And it was just a perk that is a true flat face trigger. Now, what I like about this trigger is that it is a very smooth trigger. There's no sharp edges, there's no rough corners, there's no tooling marks, and they really took the time and detail in their triggers to do it right. They smooth the edges of the trigger shoe itself. They round them, bevel them, and then they also do the same thing to the trigger safety, which I really like. And it's just a really nice trigger, and it's not a lot of money. It's like $65 for the trigger, and it comes with two different striker springs you can install if you want, and that is a 3-pound and a 3.5-pound. Now, I played with both of those and the factory striker spring. I put the factory striker spring back in because it gave me what I wanted. I don't want a super light trigger in my guns. I'm not a big fan of super light triggers, but I do like a nice crisp trigger, and it gave me what I wanted, and the CZ or the P10 already has a really nice trigger in it. I almost didn't change it. I waited 5,000 rounds before I changed it. Now, I will say that I'm very impressed with the HB Industries trigger. So there's not really a whole lot I can say on it, other than it gave me what I was looking for, and that was they eliminated a lot of the pre-travel, and they kept the reset very, very similar. It's maybe a touch better than factory, but it's hard to beat that factory reset. But that is the HB Industries trigger, and if you are looking for a flat face trigger, I would highly recommend looking up HB Industries flat face trigger for the P10C. Now, the next product I have is the +5 magazine extension from Shield Arms. Now, I bought this about the same time I got the trigger. I've had them both for about a week now, and I got 1,000 rounds on both of them. But I will say, since I am doing an honest review, that when I first got this, it went together real easy, real simple to put on, and I loaded it. And I left it loaded, because that's how I do a lot of things. I leave it loaded, and then I come back about an hour later and unload it, see if I have any issues. Because I've bought magazine extensions or other guns that I have had that issue with after an hour of being loaded. And lo and behold, the follower got caught. Okay, I might have screwed something up. So I took it apart. After I unloaded the magazine, I got all the rounds out, and I took it apart and cleaned it and put it back together, Loaded it, left it for an hour, came back, didn't have a problem. Sorry. And took it out, and I put about 300 rounds on it that day. Then I loaded it back up, threw it in my drawer, and I left it there for another day, overnight, while I went to work and everything like that. When I came home, I pulled it out of the drawer, loaded it in the gun, shot it, no problem. Awesome. So after I did that, after about 300 rounds, I had another hang-up. Magazine got, or the fire got hung up again when I inserted it into the gun. And then I was like, okay, well, if it fails to feed, then we're going to have an issue. And it didn't. It just rattled. And I guess the recoil or whatever just uncaught it. And I haven't had an issue since. And like I said, I got 1,000 rounds on it. I've beaten it up. I don't remember. I think I paid around $40 for it. Don't quote me on that. I think it might be like $38, but I think by the time shipping and everything was done, it was like $40. However, I will say, I will give credit where credit is due. Shield Arms did comment on they replied to my comment on an Instagram post about me having that hang up, and they said if I have any more problems to send it back and they will take care of it. And I guess they have a really good warranty. Luckily, I haven't had to use it. I haven't had any more problems, and I recommend it, and I intend to buy quite a few more. And same thing with this trigger. I've got about 1,000 rounds on it, and I'm very happy with both products. I did buy both with my own money. Some people know I am a sponsored shooter and a product tester, but both of these were paid out of pocket. And when I was doing, I will go back to the trigger real quick because I just thought of it. When I was doing the different striker springs, I brought out a bunch of different ammo, from my Feral HSTs to some Remington hollow points to some Hornadies, and then some cheap ammo to some decent ammo, and so on and so forth in that 1,000 rounds. I shot everything from high dollar hollow points to, you know, aluminum casing Federal from Walmart. And I didn't have a single light primer strike. They all worked fine. But again, this is a test of one, so your experience may vary. I'm not saying that, you know, they're 100% reliable and all this other crap, but my experience is I didn't have any light primer strikes. And again, that was 1,000 rounds through 3 different springs, so, you know, it's not like I did 1,000 rounds on one spring. But I did put the factory spring back in the gun because that's just what I prefer. And with the Shield Arms, I recommend it if you're looking for a +5 for your CZ. I like the +5s because, I'll be honest, I hate to load my magazines. That's why I have a bunch of them. So I'll load them once and burn them, and then load them again and not shoot anymore. But for the day. But anyways, I just want to give my opinion on both of those products. The HB Industries trigger is very nice, and it's priced very well. It's $65, and I think after shipping it was like $68. It was real cheap compared to some of my Glock triggers. And the Shield Arms magazine extension, it works, it functions. You know, if you've ran other mag extensions, you know, it runs just like most of them. I have had issues with certain brands, but I will give them credit. They did make it very simple to install, take apart, and I do like their little notch here that they put on both sides, because if your magazine gets stuck, you know, it just makes it easier to rip out. But anyways, both products I'm very happy with. and I will recommend them to a lot of people if they ask. I haven't had an issue with them, and I will continue to abuse them. So, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.